So I'm super excited actually at the intimacy level in this room, because typically I'm speaking to a large crowd and I have to pick a very generalized topic. And I have my notes of what I was going to say today, but I really want to know who's sitting in the room so that I can be intentional about what I'm sharing and how it might be helpful to you. So can y'all shout out, are you business owners? Are you working for a company? What are you most interested in learning about today? Because I can talk about all the things. Cheese-based casseroles, social media, how to build a company. Anyone? Tell me, who here owns a business? Who's a business owner? Rad. Who is working for someone else on the communications, social media side? Okay. Anyone else? Did I not mention what you do that you just really want to see me in this peplum top? Okay, great. Great. So many things. You know what I'm going to do is, we have about 30 minutes. I want to be mindful of the time. Great. No one's here to tell me, so I'm talking for the next 3 hours. So I would love to, because it's a smaller space, if I'm saying something and you have a question, just raise your hand. And I would love to answer those specific questions as I go through. So my story is an interesting one. I actually got my start as an event planner. So I moved here from Bakersfield. Anyone? Right. All right. So you're like, oh, now a whole different light that we're putting this girl in. So I moved here from Bakersfield to Los Angeles and started working in events. So I found myself as this total country mouse, had no idea how to do anything, and all of a sudden I was I was working at parties for George Clooney and Matt Damon and Brad Pitt, and I had no idea how to process that or what to do, and I just learned really quickly on the job and started my own event planning firm when I was 21 years old. So that meant that I lied about my age for a lot of years. I tried to put my hair in like a French twist. I thought that would make me seem older. Nobody, come on, French twist? Nobody? It's also worth saying, but like, I'm a call and response. My daddy was a preacher. So if I can get some amens and some yeses and some I'm feeling what you're saying, that will make this speech so much better. Thank you, Mar. Thank you. So I started doing events. I started my own company, and I thought I would just share some of the wisdom along the journey of things that I found really helpful to me and why I think, 13 years later, I still have the success that I have. So one of the first things I did as an event planner, I think this is really valuable for you guys as those of you who are business owners, is I treated every single client that I got like they were my case study. So for those of you who don't have a case study currently, in my company, we have case studies that we've done. Here's what we did for Walmart. Here's what we did for Disney Junior. And that is what I show prospective clients about whether or not they want to work with us. And it's the best of the best, right? So I treated every single client I had like they were going to be what I held up to the next client as the example. So whether that client had $20,000 to spend on a wedding or $500,000 to spend on a wedding, they were all the same in my eyes. Because I think as a small business owner, and this works in the tech space, it doesn't matter where you are only as good as your last job. You can spend literally years, and I see people nodding because they get it, like you can spend years building up your company, and it takes one pissed off customer to destroy your reputation. So every single time, I treated every client like they might be my last. The other thing that I learned from event planning that I think is really powerful and still applies to me today is everything might go wrong in the course of an event. Like I did personal and company events, so I did high-end weddings. At a high-end wedding where someone is literally spending $750,000, $1 million on a wedding, it's bananas. And P.S. at that point, it's rarely about the relationship. It's more about her dress and the photos and whatever, so it's a whole other level of bride, and everything could go wrong. I've had the cake fall over during a wedding. I've had the grandfather of the groom start having a heart attack during the best man speech in the back of the room. I have had things catch on fire. Like literally everything could go wrong, but I always knew that I had until the end of the event to make it right for that client. So something goes wrong, and a lot of us, if you're non-confrontational, and I am super non-confrontational, as a business owner, you may pull yourself back, or you don't want to engage, or you don't want to talk to that client. And for me, I always remember that I always have a chance to make it right. I always have a chance to do better. So during the course of a wedding, like everything might go wrong, but what matters is how it ends. So the relationship that you develop with the clients that you have are everything. I'm curious, I just looked here tell me the business, tell me the industries you guys are in. I know we're here for tech, but I get the impression that we've got all kinds of people in the room. Legal, awesome, what else? Finance, social media, whatever, well, anything? Software, okay. Hosting, okay, great. So those things were super valuable to me as I walked through this industry, was learning how to manage clients. And that 100% is why I am successful today. So I had a set-up planning company, and I did it for about 10 years. And I took care of those clients, and I worked my butt off, and I was super intentional. And somewhere along the way, blogs became a thing. So people started blogging, everyone was like, oh, you should blog, it's free marketing. And I was like, I don't know what marketing is, and I don't know what blogging is, but I will do it. So this was back in the day, like 2007, back when blogs were still like .blogspot.com, like it was so bad. And I had no idea what I was doing, and I literally would write about what I ate for dinner the night before. And my mom read it, and even she was like, oh, this feels like a waste of time. So I was in a meeting one day, and it was actually an intern in my office. Famous words in my career. He raised his hand. There were like 3 of us. He was like, excuse me. He's like, do you know that a blog is supposed to be about something specific? And I was like, thank you, Ivan. I did not know that. And now my blog will be about event planning. So I had this grand idea that I was going to have this blog, and I was going to show you how to take the decor from the celebrity weddings that I was doing and show you how to get it on the cheap. Like, how do you recreate the celebrity centerpiece with like flowers from Ralph's? I'm laughing because it's not a thing, but I thought it was. And so I got really excited, and I posted all these things, and I did everything you were supposed to do, and still nobody cared about my blog. And then one day, I wasn't sure what to post. It was around 4th of July, and I was like, as a point of reference, I grew up on a street called Weed Patch Highway. That's not a cute name that the local hipsters call it. Like, literally, that's the name on the sign. So I didn't even grow up in Bakersfield. I grew up outside of Bakersfield, so I am even trashier than you believe right now. So 4th of July was coming, and this whole time I was doing like all this celebrity stuff, and look, we're so fancy, and all these things, and I didn't know what else to write about, so I decided to write about this dip that my mom used to make when I was a little girl, which was, I don't know if anyone is as, comes from a trailer like I do, but it was, you like mix like mayonnaise and cream cheese together, and then there's a packet from the salad dressing aisle, and you poured it in, you mix it. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? You put it in like a sourdough bread bowl? No, it's disgusting. You guys are vomiting in your mouths. To me, it sounds delicious. I want to eat some right now. But so I put this dip on the internet, and for the first time ever, people paid attention to the blog. Because they were like, oh my gosh, bless you. Oh my gosh, I had that dip, and my mom used to do that, and like my mom didn't do that, but here's this other gross thing that my grandma did. And there was, for the first time ever, I recognized the power of authenticity in a brand. So I was trying to be fancy, because I was working in a fancy space, but who I am authentically is a little girl from Weed Patch. And when I started to talk about that, people found commonality in their own backstory. So the blog grew, and I got traction, and people started paying attention, and I actually can't even tell you that I was so smart about how to market it to get paid. Actually, a brand reached out to me. So I'll never forget Eggland's Best Eggs. And they reached out and they said, hey, you're doing a good job over here. Can we pay you $500? Holy crap. Can we pay you $500 to put our eggs in your recipe? And this was years ago, back before influencer was even a thing. And I was like, oh my Lord. Like, I could buy so many things at Target for $500. Absolutely. I will totally, yes. So it was the very first time I did branded content. And it was also when I recognized that there was something here. This was a business thing. Which is the third thing I would tell you guys, one of the most important and profound in my careers, which is follow the signs of life. So I had started as an event planner, and then I was doing recipe posts, but if I hadn't paid attention to what my audience was responding to and what the market was asking for, I would never have scaled my business. So I think a lot of times, especially in startup culture, you get really romantic about what it is that you do, right? You're like, we are, a really great example, does everyone know Minted, minted.com? If you ever get a chance to hear their CEO and founder speak, you absolutely should. She's phenomenal. But she tells the story. Minted actually started, they were doing like stationery or something very specific, not at all what Minted is today. So they launched it, it's venture capitalist money, they invested all this time out and they launched it and nobody cared about their website. And the only thing that people liked on Minted.com was once a month they had a contest where local artists and graphic designers could design something, and if you won, then they would turn your design into stationery or a photo or whatever. It was the only thing people liked. And she's like, we could have sat around and said, okay, we are going to stick with what we were founded to do, or we can pay attention to what our audience is actually asking for. So Minted, if you don't know it, you should. It's fabulous. Go get a print for your home right now. But now that is the basis of their company. They are taking artists, graphic designers, local creatives, and turning their products into things that you can buy. And it's wildly successful because they followed the science of life. So as I start blogging, I actually got my start as a food blogger. I would make, dips like that one for my mom, and cheese-based casseroles and meatloaf and just like gross, down-home. This is what you eat when you're hormonal or sick or, having a football-based party in Ohio. So I got my start as a food blogger, and I will tell you, 3 years ago, if I put a recipe on Facebook, the engagement was out of this world. The traction to the website was incredible. It got pinned 1 million times. It was wildly successful. If I put a recipe on Facebook today or anywhere on social media today, it'll get 5 likes. And I have 700,000 fans on Facebook, and a recipe will get 5 likes. Now I can be really romantic about this is how I started my business, and I am a food blogger and we stay here, or I could decide to listen to my audience. And the reason I will tell you, for those of you who are in social or you own a company and you want to grow your social space, and I don't care what industry you're in, I don't care if you're hosting, I don't care if you're tech, you better be on social. Like, I will stand on this and preach this to you all day long. But the reason that I have the fans that I do is because we're not romantic about how we got here. We want to serve you as an audience. We want to give you stuff that you dig, that you like, that you feel inspired by. And if what is inspiring you today is not the same as what was inspiring you 2 months ago, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm just going to figure it out. So, and social media is my jam. I run a media agency. So as we go through, if there's specific questions that you guys have in that, shout at your girl. So the other thing that I feel like is really valuable, I was sitting with a girlfriend yesterday who has sort of fallen into a business. She started doing these things and started connecting people, and all of a sudden there's money involved, and it's kind of like me with the blog, realizing like, oh, this could be a thing. And I sat with her yesterday and she's like, man, I'm getting, like, this is the dream, right? Like, I'm getting all this money and I'm not really sure. I'm like, oh, cry me a river. So she's like, I'm not really sure what this is. I'm not really sure. And she keeps saying that, and I'm like, it's a business. This is what you call a business. And she's like, oh crap, you're right. Like, we start writing, what's the business plan look like, and how does this, and do I need a staff, and how do I do this, and how do I do that? Which all this things, she makes a list. You know those crazy lists, right? Where it's like 3 pages of like nonsense, looks like a serial killer wrote it. You're like, I don't even know what's here, but I'm so excited about the future. So before he left, I said, hey, I want to be really clear about this. Focus on the client, not on the business. And what I mean by that is a lot of times entrepreneurs get really fired up about the business card, what the website looks like, what's the connection, who am I networking with, blah, blah, blah. Are you making money? One of the best lines I ever heard years ago at a conference, someone was like, cool, but are you making money? What makes you a business is your ability to turn a profit, 100%. And people get really wrapped up into what does their business look like on the outside? What do my cards look like? What does my social look like? What does the restaurant look like? Great, but are you making money? So as you're growing, for those of you who own a business, focus on, don't worry about the cards or the name or whether or not you should be an LLC. That's not where you start. You start with, how can I serve people and have it be transactional? And in the beginning, I did stuff for nothing. Like, I needed a client base. And a lot of people don't want to do this. They're like, I cost $100,000 and I just started my company. I'm like, good luck with that. When I first started doing events, I literally did them for anything. I was like, oh, you're gonna give me a bucket of chicken? Awesome, I'm so ready. Because I needed a client base, I needed a roster, I needed someone that you could call and talk to and hear how great I was, and I needed pictures. So I think as you're building, as you're trying to scale, what do I actually need to be successful? And you might not be able to get people to pay you for that right away. You might have to do some stuff on trade or do some stuff for less than you want to in order to grow the thing that you're trying to grow. Sorry, I made all sorts of notes here. Okay. So I started blogging. And it was doing really well, and honestly, I had done events for about a decade, and I was super burnt out. Mostly because brides are crazy, and you work in wedding industry, you know, they're insane. So I was really feeling burnout, kind of wanting to shift into something new, and I recognized that the events could be something. This was about 5 years ago, not events, that the blog could be something. And so I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be really intentional about it, and I'm going to hire a staff that's going to help me get there. So I can write a recipe for you, I can love on you, do all of these things. I can write for you all day long, but I can't take a picture to save my life. And I knew if I wanted to scale in the lifestyle space, I was going to need a photographer, I was going to need a graphic designer, I was going to need to invest in people that can help me grow this business. So about 5 years ago, we decided to make the site a real thing. And I hired a staff of 4, and they were all creatives, and we rebranded the site, we made it beautiful, and here's what we're doing. And we started producing crazy amounts of editorial, and we started to gain traction. And we got a fan base, and it was really exciting. And I'll tell you a couple of things about that time. One, I think this is important for, I keep speaking to business owners or people who are high up in their company in leadership roles. I went through so many employees. A, because I probably didn't know what I was doing as a leader. I was hiring the wrong people. But B, I think that is a part of startup culture that not enough people talk about. Like, I was like, why am I getting this so wrong? Why? I'm really bad. So like, if you sit down in front of me and you sell yourself and you're like, I can build a rocket ship. I'm like, you can build a rocket ship? Holy crap, let's go. I believe whatever you're telling me, which is not, someone else should probably hire my staff. But I went through a lot of turnover in the beginning because a couple of reasons. One, I thought I knew what I needed, and it wasn't what I needed. 2, I didn't do a good enough job screening people, because I think when you're young and you just are like, oh my gosh, I have all of this work to do, you just want, like, do you stand upright? Are you breathing in and out? Great, you're hired. Like, oh, you have opposable thumbs? You're in, come on, I need some help. So you just sort of get whoever you can to come and help you in this space, and then 9 months later, you're like, oh, shoot. And if you're non-confrontational like me, now this is the worst, because now you know someone doesn't work, and you have to have a really honest conversation about how you lead them, and hey, sister, this probably isn't the space for you. So I just wanted to say that today, those of you who are in leadership or experiencing the same thing, it's really normal. And it took me interacting with other people in this industry, other leaders who have startups, who have small businesses, to understand, like, it's not you, it's a pretty common thing. And in a perfect world, we'd all be able to afford headhunters, and we'd all be able to have like like all those big, like Google's like the head of heart. You know those, like, it's the fancy words for HR now, and you're like, oh my God, like, I'm the head of everything. I don't have a head of heart or culture. But yeah, I just, for whoever in the room is in that space, it's really common to struggle. I think the important thing to remember in leadership is that, and this is a hard one, but everything that is happening, like if you have a team or if you have a company, every single issue, every pain point, every area that you're not growing or scaling like you wish you could is a result of the leadership. And if you're the leader, That's a really hard thing to understand. Either it's your fault. I hate that, but it's true. Either because you're not leading well, or because you have put people in a position of authority who are not leading well. And either way, that's on you. So another reason I think that I am as successful as I am today is because you have never met anyone in your life who spends as much time reading books, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, going to conferences, talking with other people. Like, if you do anything that's at all in my sphere, oh my gosh, tell me about that. Okay, how do I am a sponge. I am absorbing everything. And part of the reason is I didn't go to college. I'm a high school graduate from Weed Patch, let's remember. I did not know anything about media. I didn't know anything about social, didn't know anything about running a company, knew nothing. I am standing here as a CEO of a multi-million-dollar media company because of hustle and Google. And I mean that sincerely. Every single thing that I know, I found in the books at this library. I found it by watching YouTube videos. Every time that I didn't feel confident enough, every time that I was insecure, I armed myself with knowledge. If there's somebody you're like, I want to walk in a room, I want to give a speech, I want to write something on LinkedIn, whatever it is, and you're like, I'm not sure if I should do that, man. I heard my husband talking to someone about this earlier. Absolute certainty. Absolute certainty that if I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna figure it out. And every time that I feel like, oh shoot, I'm not really sure, literally everything you need to know about being successful in business or as a human or as a mom or as a wife or as a daughter, everything is on the internet. It is. It's just your willingness to seek it out. It's your willingness to be really honest with yourselves about where you might be struggling and what you might need to do and what are the things that are limiting you in certain ways, and just get back into that. Every single day, I'm starting my day and ending my day with the intention that I want to be a better woman in every capacity. I don't just want to be good, I don't want to be great, I want to be outstanding. I want to be an outstanding wife. I want to be an outstanding mom. I want to be an outstanding leader. And if I just hope for those things and cross my fingers, it's never going to happen. I have to seek it out. So everything right now that you're like, I'm not sure how to do that, it exists on the internet. And it exists in the knowledge of the people that you get to interact with. This is such an incredible opportunity to talk to others, not in a like, how can you help me sort of way, because nothing's worse than that, where you're like, you're only talking to me because you think I can give you something. But in a like, how can I add value to you so that you want to add value back to me? At one point I will get to like the actual company I have. Sorry, my notes are like, seriously, Rachel, get on board. So I relaunched the site. We have these blogs, and initially, for those of you who don't know how influencer, do people know how influencer stuff works? Nope, great. Okay, so I have this site, and initially we got most of our clients because I still have a really large platform. I have a big group of fans. And so brands want to pay for access to that. And initially it was so exciting to get money that I said yes to everything. Like, that doesn't even make sense for me to be working with, but like, yeah, sure. I'll put your, weird thing on my, it's a zaps your face, it's a pimple zap, sure, I'll talk about that. And then I slowly started to understand that every time that I signed on with a brand that wasn't authentic to me, it really hurt my audience, really hurt my interaction with them, really hurt the trust level that they had for what I was going to show them. So, oh Lord, I'm forgetting his name, but the head of Pixar has this great speech where he talks about brand deposit and brand withdrawals. It's either him or Steve Jobs. Someone talks about this. It's really exciting. I wish I knew who it was. But every time a client or someone looks at your website or someone walks into your shop or every time someone interacts with your company, they are either having a brand deposit, meaning it's like a bank, like it's transactional. Man, that experience was incredible. Man, I loved working with her. Man, what a beautiful picture she put on her Instagram. That is a brand deposit. The opposite of that is it was hard to navigate their website. I didn't understand it. I walked into the coffee shop and nobody said hi to me. Whatever it is, whatever you do, every single interaction that someone can have with your brand on any level is either a deposit and a withdrawal. And if you are not setting up your day, if you're not setting up your business, not just you, but every single person that works with you, that you want brand deposits, that you want every space that you're in to be strong and powerful and thoughtful, you're missing. You're missing it. So I decided to focus more on the brands that made sense for us as an organization, that made sense for my audience, and even when it was like a lot of money. Like, hey, we put Trojan condom? I'm like, no, I don't even know that. Nope, that's not my thing. Someone needs that, just not the Shape site. Me with my 4 kids. I don't have any reason to talk about it. But please practice safe sex. That feels important to tell you. So I started being more intentional, and then we really started to see it blossom, because not only were brands interested in the audience, but now they knew that we were really thoughtful about not working with people where we couldn't return the engagement for them. If you're going to pay me thousands of dollars to post a photo on Instagram, I want that to be successful for you. I want you to get the engagement that you're looking for. So we were really thoughtful with how we worked with brands, and has always been the case for me. I'm still pretty terrible about marketing. So the success that I have had has always been word of mouth, which is bananas. But I think because, remember, I told you I treat every client like they might be my last. So people started to pass my name around. And they would tell them, like, work for her, see what she's up to. So maybe about 2 years ago, we started having brands ask us for white label content. And I honestly did not even know what that meant. I had to Google it. See, Google, everything is on Google. So I had to Google white label content. White label is when you create stuff for someone else and nobody knows it's yours. So I really didn't want to do that, because I had built a business on the idea that you would pay me to put stuff on my website. And the idea of giving you content that I don't own, that I don't get any credit for, really freaked me out. Because I was like, well, I'm not sure, I don't understand how this works. But again, we kept getting the request. And for me, that's always like, if the universe or God or something pops up to me 3 times, that is my indication that this is something I need to pay attention to. So 3 separate, huge clients said, could you do this for me? And I was like, no, well, maybe. So now it is one of the biggest parts of my business, is that we internally have a digital creative agency. So brands like Disney Junior and Walmart and Rubbermaid, and we are creating content for them for their social media and offering them the strategy for how to put it out into the world, and you have no idea it's ours. There's no association with us. We make it for them based on the themes that they want, we give it to them, and we're done. And it has been such an incredible opportunity financially for us, such an incredible opportunity to help some of the brands push their endeavors a little bit further. But from a personal standpoint, I have built this tribe, I've built this audience online based on the idea that I wanted to create a space for women to come together and feel encouraged and loved. And one of the biggest, most important things in my life is that you are loved here regardless of who you are, where you come from, what your background is, who you love, what color your skin is. We have women from all over the world, from every religion, and in a social media space right now that is so divisive and mean, and we really have created this incredible tribe of women who support each other. And so one of the things that I love so much about being able to affect the digital creative for some really big brands is that we get to bring that to their content. So we're really mindful of, if any of you exist in the social media space, just like as consumers, you notice that most of the lifestyle content in this space is, quite honestly, white women. And if you are not thoughtful about making sure that everybody feels like they have a seat at this table, everybody has a voice, everybody gets to see themselves in this space, you're missing it. And so we're really intentional with the things that we create, that everybody is seen, and everybody is known, and everybody is loved. And it sounds super cheesy, but I love the manifestation of this idea I had for my social media audience that now gets to play out for some of the biggest brands in the world. So authenticity, listening to those clients, paying attention to what people are asking for. In the social media, this is like so easy to see. They're like, oh, I don't know how to do social. I'm like, yes, you do. Sister, listen, if you post 10 photos and all of them get 4 likes and one of them gets 7 likes, post more photos like the one that got 7 likes. That's how you listen to the signs of life. It sounds dumb, but I've built a business on this idea. And also it's worth saying, if you go to the site, thechicsite.com, if you go in our shop, all of our e-courses are free. So they're about 45 minutes long. We have one on branding for small business, social media for small business. You don't even have to put an email address. You just press play and watch it. So if you want to dig in more to that, hit that up. Go see what we have to say. I would love to take some questions because I'm just jabbering, but I would love to answer things that really speak to where you're at. Yeah?
Mine is another question. I Googled it.
Oh, great.
John Lasseter.
John Lasseter. Yeah, I was like in my head, I'm like, it's John, and I just couldn't get the last name together, so thank you. That is who said it. Yes.
So you talked a lot about like customer metrics. Like, what tools do you use to like understand like what your customers like and like what they want in the future?
So this is a really interesting thing with us, is I have essentially 2 people that I'm serving. I have my audience, so those are the fans that hang out on social media and come to book signings and watch the videos. Those are not my clients, and I'm very intentional about that. I do not want to sell you, like anybody in this room who already follows me, I hope that you're like, yeah, I don't feel like you're selling me anything. I want to serve you over and over and over. I want to add value to your lives over and over and over. So when a book comes out, I'm like, hey, you guys, use this book. And remember the last year where I just, here's the free content, here's the thing, here's that I hope that I've added enough value to your life that you recognize, like, yeah, I wanna interact with you in a bigger way. Those of you who own your own businesses doing educational-based marketing, if you don't know a ton of that, if you don't know a ton about that, get on YouTube right now and learn about how, if you're offering value to those potential clients, like, I know we were talking about what you're doing, so I have some idea about your background, but you wanna work with bloggers. So for me, I would be sending out really intentional, hey you guys, here's 5 ways to up your Instagram game. Here's 6 ways to get more engagement on Facebook. So you're serving them, right? You're constantly serving them with content and ideas so that they start to associate your brand with a resource. So for this tribe online, they are not my clients. My clients are the brands. So for them, it's hard to say like specific metrics. Like obviously we can show engagement on a post, we can show the traffic to the website, but for us, every client has a different goal. So if you tell me that, hey, we want to drive people to this link because we want to sell more suede jackets. Well, great, I'm going to come up with a specific campaign that speaks to your intention. But if you tell me I want brand awareness, well, that's a whole different thing that we're going to put together. So for each client, it's different, and then based on that, we're looking at Google Analytics, what the Facebook numbers are, what's our engagement. Yeah, so it just depends on the client. Yeah.
You mentioned social media and how you used to get a lot of engagement, and now you don't really, you might post something and it might not be
Sure.
as engaging, but you still said that you should be on social media. So is it just that oversaturation, or I mean, it's still effective?
Yes.
It's not getting a lot of
Yes, so tell me what do y'all, first of all, I want a shirt, whatever this is, I'm most excited. Tell me what you do and I want to speak.
ROIs, it's like an Expedia for online lending.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
So a couple of things I'll tell you about social media, and seriously, I have a whole 45-minute thing if you're just bored one night and you want to watch it. So social media matters for many reasons. 1, it's brand recognition. 2, your competitors are probably there. 3, Facebook is this beast. Like back in the day, it was like, oh, if you get a bunch of Facebook followers, wow, this is so powerful, and you can talk directly to them. And anyone who's built a Facebook following knows, now Facebook only shows anything you do to about 3% of your audience, which is such a bummer. Like, oh cool, I have 700,000 fans, but 3% of them saw this. So Facebook is really powerful for if you have an ad budget. There is no platform on the planet where you can be as specific with your targeting for ads as Facebook. It is so incredible. There are a million videos about this if you want to check it out. You can get like literally, I don't know if you're doing like just the at-home person or something, you can target people who work for a specific company. You can target, like if you own a coffee shop, you can target people in a 10-mile radius who like Starbucks to still their, like you can get deep and heavy into a Facebook ad, and that is where the power is there. I really don't think Facebook in this day and age is powerful for brand engagement in the way that it was 2 or 3 years ago. But I still use it because it's a super powerful tool to target for specific demographics. You could do people who earn a certain amount of money, or like, I'm trying to think of what makes sense for you guys, but it is, if you haven't dug into Facebook ads, you really should check that out. Part of the thing though is that you need to add value in the interim. So if the only thing you're putting on your Facebook page is like a link, you're gonna suffer for engagement. There's a great book by Gary Vaynerchuk for anyone who's in social media called Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is the idea that your jab, so you need to offer 3 things of value for the consumer for every ask. And if you're not sure what an ask is, I just always say it's anything with a link. If you're asking them to leave that platform, if you're asking them to sign up for your email, if you're asking them to comment below, that's an ask. So make sure that you're offering 3 things, memes or funny stuff. I know this sounds because you're like, well, I'm in lending, but you would be surprised. I was sitting with Pop Sugar up in San Francisco. If you guys know them, they're a huge media company in the lifestyle space. And they're like, oh, it's so annoying because all anybody responds to now is memes, and why don't people care about actual editorial content anymore? I'm like, okay, you can keep crying about that. And meanwhile, Cosmo, does anyone follow Cosmo on social? No one knows. Okay, Cosmopolitan, the magazine, nobody is doing a better job of turning a magazine into a media company than Cosmo. And I'm not even a Cosmo consumer, but they are killing it on social because they're not precious about what they were. They're not romantic. They're not like, oh, Pop Sugar's gonna cry a river. Oh my God, like they're gonna tell them. So no one tweet this. But they're gonna be crying a river up in San Francisco about how no one wants to review editorial content, or they're gonna get on the meme train and they're gonna start serving people with what they want today. So, sorry, that was a whole tangent. But let me just, one more thing about social, because I get super fired up. I'm coming to you next. I always tell people, if you're not sure where to start, just pick one platform. And if you're not sure which platform to pick, I would start with the one that you actually like to engage. Like, are you on any social platforms?
I was on Facebook.
Yeah.
We do some of that ads on Facebook.
Yeah.
In terms of engagement, that's what we see, that
Yeah.
it's sort of difficult to get engagement.
Sure.
So I don't know if there's more, because I feel like you have to balance it with the paid, with
Yeah.
some sort of
100%.
engagement, so I don't know the more organic engagement side of it.
Don't pay for anything in your feed on Facebook. Don't boost anything. It's all a trick. Because once you start doing it, the algorithm now shows them that you're willing to pay for those views. No one told me this is real, but this is real. This is my conspiracy theory. The only thing I'll pay for on Facebook is an ad, which is very targeted in a different way. But I mean you personally. If you personally, not for your business, but if you personally are on a very specific platform and you dig it, that's where you should put your business. If you're not on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a fantastic social platform for people in business. Just the articles that you're going to come across, the people that you can connect to, that's a great place to be putting your educational-based marketing. Hey, did you know that, I don't know anything about lending, so I can't say something clever right now, but explore LinkedIn. That feels like, because you want to lend to people who want to start a business. Is that?
No, it's really people who just came out of college and, refinancing student loans.
Got it.
Refinance the debt.
Instagram is a younger crowd for sure. Snapchat, but then you're gonna go, Snapchat's slowly dying because Instagram's eating its lunch. But if you're that demographic, then it's Instagram, 100%. And that's probably not why you're not getting engagement, because Facebook is an older crowd, much older. That's their moms. So if you want to talk to their moms, they're on Facebook. If you want to talk to the kids, you can get on Instagram. I would also, I don't know what your budget is, maybe there's a way, but I would also look into influencers. Like influencers in that space, like what influencers are their age demographic that they're already following, who could, and you can find people, sorry I'm going on too long, but you can find people and you're like, hey, here's $100 and a Starbucks gift card, and here's the message that we want to get out, and they have 10,000 followers, they are absolutely going to do it. And someone with 10,000 followers who are engaged is way more powerful than someone with 1 million who they don't really care. Send me an email, I can take you into this further, but yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh, I was going to say, for examples like social media engagement, follow the Wendy's Twitter account, because they're just.
Yeah, they're killing it. Taco Bell also really killing it. I should probably speak in the microphone. It's worth saying to follow people who your demographic is following, especially if they're not in your industry. So your key demographic is like what age? 20?
If young working professionals, like 22 to about 35.
Okay, is it in a specific area, or is it
Yeah,
national?
I'd say like major markets.
Okay, so like what are 24-year-olds like in New York? What are they like in LA? Things like Sweet Green, what are the hipsters into? I am serious, Phil's Coffee. This is dumb, it sounds really dumb, but being able to model the behavior of what they're putting on Instagram will tell you what your audience responds to. If you go dig through their feed and you're like, oh wow, these 4 photos did twice as well as the other photos, what's my version of this? And you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna put stuff out that's really crappy, and you're gonna figure out, you're gonna follow the signs of life to see what they respond to. Yes?
How would you integrate AdWords with social media?
I am not a great person to ask about AdWords. I won't even try and BS you and be like, oh, it's just not something that I use. And I have built the platform based on content. So that's something I feel really strongly about, and it's what I beat the drum when I go meet with our brand partners. So many people at big companies are constantly pushing for paid media. So they're constantly focused on how can they pay for that thing. And I'm like, how do you create content that organically does well for your audience, that serves them in a good way, so that they want to interact with you regardless of how much money you put behind it? Because here's the thing about Facebook. They are going to show your post to 3% of your followers unless it's good. If you post something that gets traction, immediately they increase how many people they show it to. And if it keeps doing well, they increase it again. So it's like, why, if you've ever had something start to do well over the course of the day, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it's because Facebook recognizes that the audience likes it. So they will open up those floodgates and let it out to the full feed. So I wish that I had an answer for you, but I don't use it. But girl, I am positive there are people who are killing this answer for you on YouTube. 100%. So, yes.
What's the best way to respond and approach brands or individuals who want to collaborate and work together for free when their social media is like 100 followers or whatever, and it's just not something that you want to engage in because it's not equal?
Yeah, sure.
So what's the polite way where you're not offending them,
Yeah.
but you're also at the same time,
Well, it's probably a great idea to have, to sit down for you and say, these are our minimums. Not minimums, it's like a harsh word, but this is kind of our standard of who we will work with. And I just am super honest with people, because I think as someone who had a smaller company and was really trying to build, or even today, if I reach out to someone and they don't respond, that doesn't help me in any way. And I want to be helpful. So I get requests all the time to do people's podcasts. But you guys know you're busy, you only have so much time. And so I will, thank you so much, dig this, I'm a podcast girl, I'm super into it. But given the amount of time that I have currently, I can't commit to that. Typically, and I'll give them what the number is. Typically I'm really, I say it in a very nice way, but I'm really only going to work with someone who has this minimum following. And I can't tell you how often people are like, okay, challenge accepted. I'm coming back to it, I have 10,000. I'm like, yes, sister, do it. I can't wait to have that conversation. But it explains why. Because I think that just not responding or no, that sucks. And if you are in business, you know how much it sucks when you put yourself out there and nobody responds. So I try and be encouraging, but I'm really candid. An incredible book for anybody in leadership or who is interacting with other people is Radical Candor. Incredible book about having, that you care enough about them as an individual, even if they are a stranger, to be honest with them about what's going on. Also, let me just tell you this, because I'm a huge book nerd, by the way. I'm reading right now, and it is a game changer. It's High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. You guys, literally everybody in this room needs to read that book. It just came out last week. It is a game changer. It is the 7 habits that they did 20,000 interviews over several years of the top 15% of high performers. So Olympic athletes and CEO Fortune 500 companies, and they just asked, what do you do to be successful? You know how they have all those strength finders, and what's your Enneagram, and what's your TMJLQ thing? I don't know that, This is like, no, what do you do every day? And it is so good. So everyone get that book. If you don't take anything else away from me today, I mean, pre-order my book that comes out in February, but also go buy that one. That's my time, you guys. Oh, I'm so sorry, but I will chat with you afterwards if you have any other questions. Thanks for listening, and good luck.